Hey, welcome. This is Jeff with the Political Rant with Jeff. You guessed it. And I'm Jeff. So, welcome. I'm glad that you are tuning in today. We are going to be discussing on this political rant the dangerous politics of the left, the treasonous behavior by the politicians and the media. Our primary focus on today's video is going to be the propaganda engine that is the media. It doesn't matter which mainstream media platform that you tune into, they all seem to be doing a phenomenal job at creating the propaganda for the left and covering up the real news in replace of the narrative that they want you to see. Now, what we want to talk about today, because I think this is a great example. There was some things going on, and there's a lot of calls right now where they're singling out Trump and his focus on calling some of these protesters rioters, the ones that are creating and destroying property, the ones that are attacking police, the ones that are attacking the federal troops, the federal police, the federal agents that are being sent into these cities because the mayors themselves have lost complete control. Yet the media is now singling out the fact that, in their opinion, and the narrative that they want you to believe, that it's the autocrats of the world that will then label protesters terrorists. But in fact, what they're doing is actually covering up the real news. They're covering up the reality on the ground, which is that these protesters are no longer protesters. These protesters are rioters. These protesters are committing treasonous behavior against this country. Not only are these rioters committing treason, but the media is bordering and overstep. They're also committing treason. Those on the left are committing treason. So let's define treason, and then let's look at propaganda, because they go hand in hand in this case. Treason is the crime of betraying one's country, especially by attempting to kill the sovereign or overthrow the government. Now, for the past 4 years, the left has attempted to undo a legal election process. They've attempted to overthrow the government. They've attempted to overthrow and undermine the presidency of one Donald Trump. They've done that with one purpose in mind, and that's treason. It's treasonous behavior. It's treasonous behavior to create fictitious impeachment hearings. It's treasonous behavior to continue to ramp up the rhetoric of violence, to promote the violence, to stoke the violence, to utilize the media as a propagandist machine. Now, when we look at other countries in the past that have done the same thing, we can look at Venezuela. Venezuela is now struggling under the socialist ideologies that they worshipped in the government that led to their downfall, led to their destruction. Once the most prosperous nation in South America, a breakdown of security, a breakdown of the economy, an outright attack on business owners and the producers in society. Until today, Venezuela is looking for handouts and people are starving and have no money. In 1933, the Nazi Party hired somebody named Paul Joseph Goebbels. Paul Joseph Goebbels was an expert propagandist for the Nazi Party during 1933 to 1945. He's the one who created the narrative. Now, the media today is doing the exact same thing. The mainstream media today is creating the same narratives that they would have you believe based on nothing but fiction. Not based on fact, because they cover up the fact and they twist the logic. They're also circumventing reason by creating revisionist history and attempting to erase the history of this country, attempting to cover up the history of the Democrat Party that is soaked in racism. The Democrat Party promoted racism. The Democrat Party was the party of racism. The Democrat Party is now the party of socialism. The Democrat Party is now the party of fascist ideology. A fascist ideology that is creating violence in the streets, that it's making it unsafe for everyday citizens to walk down and be in these cities, to where they're creating these quote unquote peaceful protests, according to the media, that are nothing more than riots and an attempt of destroying the politics and destroying the fabric of society in the United States. They attempt to bring in that fear, as they've done with group after group after group. The Democrats have attacked the Jewish community by convincing the Jewish community, relying on fear and tapping into the fear of the Jewish community by lying to them and convincing the Jews that the Republican Party wants to return them to the concentration camps. The Democrat Party has utilized their propaganda for years to lie to the black community and convince them that the Republicans want to return them to slavery. This is the propaganda machine year after year after year. The same Democrat Party that is now embracing socialism, coddling Islamism, and perpetrating more racism and more anti-Semitism than I think this country's seen in a long time, while projecting all of this onto the Republicans, projecting their core beliefs onto Donald Trump, whether it's coming from Congress or those that are running for president against Donald Trump. We've seen it firsthand. It's dangerous. It's a very, very dangerous game that these Democrats are now playing with this country, playing with the safety of this country, and playing with the security, economic security, political security, what have you, of this country. This is my first video I'm making for this channel. I have a lot more planned. Again, this is Political Rants with Jeff. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thank you.